Good afternoon, and welcome to A Soft Place to Land. As you know, I am Hope, just trying to adjust my light there, get a little more light on the situation. As you know, I am Hope, and I'm so glad that you took the opportunity to join us today. I am so excited about the conversation that we're getting ready to have. Um, Today, we're going to have a conversation from one of our servicemen. His name is Willie Brown, and I'm truly, truly excited to hear his story. Um, I'm sorry, just adjusting a few things here. Let's make sure that he is getting in. Hold on a moment. How's everybody doing today while we get Willie in here? Come on and jump down into the chat. Let me know where you're joining us from. There we go. There we go. All right. So again, we're just waiting for Willie to join us. Listen, let's talk about PTSD um, as it pertains to mental health. I have a family member whom has struggled with PTSD. It has not been um, a fun journey watching them struggle. I have got other family members who are still dealing with it. Um, Mental health is serious and it's real. Uh, I don't, I don't know. We 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 enjoy the freedoms that we do in this country because of servicemen like Willie Brown. Um, and we don't take into account all that they have gone through and endure so that we can have these freedoms. They put their bodies and their mental stability at risk for us. Today, we're simply going to say thank you to the servicemen and women um, who are on the front lines just for us. Today, we want to hear from this serviceman's, I want to hear his words. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see what he has experienced. We watch the news and we're all watching everything that's going on regarding Russia and the Ukraine. And we see, and our hearts go out for the citizens. But today, I want us to think about the servicemen and women whom have lost family members, who have lost brothers at arms, um, just for us. Um, I'm not sure what's going on. Hold on one second. Let's see if Willie is having issues getting in. All right. Yeah, it's challenging. It is challenging. We are able to go out and go to the grocery store and do what we do, and we have a difficult day, and we don't realize the battlefield that's in the mind. Willie, I'm not sure if you are able to hear me. I do see you attempting to get in our backstage. Do me a favor. I want you to go out and come back in. I'm going to kick you out. I want you to click that link again. Okay? There we go. Let's allow him to try again. Sometimes technology is challenging for all of us. Um, but I'm so interested to hear this young man's story. He has not only served in the Army, he has also served as a Marine. Um, one moment. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can help him here. Hold on one second. Hold on one moment. For those of us who are of a certain age, sometimes technology is challenging. Um, Definitely for me, this is new toys. So, I am definitely giving Willie some grace in this. Um, Come on in here, guys. Come on in the room. Go ahead and like the video. Let's get these likes up. Um, Share it out. Let's have this conversation. Jump down in the comment sections. I see people watching, but I'm not seeing any comments. So go ahead and comment for me. Who's in here in the room having the conversation with us? Who's there? Who's in here with us? One moment. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Just needed to turn the fan on. It's a bit warm. Southeast Louisiana is the temperature is beginning to kick up, so just a bit warm. If you give me a moment, let's see if we can help Willie get in here. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Willie is having a little bit of technical difficulties, but he is working on it. On that. Um, PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Our brains are not necessarily wired to deal with extreme stress, even though we push our bodies and we push our brain um, to deal with these things. So, post traumatic stress syndrome is after there is a traumatic situation, an extremely traumatic situation. Doesn't necessarily have to be war, it could be childhood stress and trauma, it could be relational stress or trauma, it could be stress or trauma within a work situation. Um, the brain just tries to figure out how to rewire itself to deal with what's going on, and sometimes our brains break. Short way to explain um, post-traumatic stress syndrome. And it is our job to figure out what we need to do to fix or repair our broken brain. It's not easy. um, Imagine being in a maze and there is no way out. Sometimes it's like that for some of us. Um, I and there are times when we've heard people say someone has had a nervous breakdown. That's what happens. The brain breaks. The brain reaches a place that we can't get out of the maze in our mind. And our job is to figure out how to fix the brain. And sometimes that means getting therapy, um, going into a mental health care institution to help to rewire the brain. Um, I've been there. I've been in places in my life, in times in my life, where my brain broke and I needed help. I ended up spending some time in a mental health care unit. I'm grateful for the people that were in that facility that helped fix my brain, that helped me to understand that I have experienced in my life is not my fault. The fact that my brain was broken is not my fault. Um, and I was able to, through their help, I was able to find my way out of the mental maze. Is that to say that I don't still have foggy days? No, there are days when I'm in a fog, but I've obtained the tools within my toolbox to recognize when I am in a fog. I have obtained the tools that I need that I need to use to find out and figure out how to create an exit from the maze. And I'm totally grateful. I am so, so grateful. Um, this is a challenging topic. Um, Hold 1 second. This is Willie reaching out again. 1 second, guys. Hi guys, we're having a bit of technical difficulties. We will be back in a couple of seconds. Just hang in there with us. Thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Hi guys, I'm back. Um, we are still working out some kinks. Please hang in there with us. I promise you, this conversation is going to be worth the wait and all of the challenges once we get out of it. Listen, we were just talking about our brain breaking. Listen, what's happening is our brain is being rewired with this technology. And I'm excited to hear there is something that Willie has to say that we need to hear. So we're going to keep pushing forward. Just hang in there a few more moments with us. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Guys, thank you so much for your patience. As I said, sometimes there are just issues with technology and trying to figure it all out. If Willie is not able to get in within the next 3 or 4 minutes, what we're going to do is end this broadcast, help him get through the challenges that he's having in terms of the technical difficulties. Once we resolve that, we will resume. But let's keep talking about repairing our broken brain. Um, what has happened? Tell me, when have you in your life had situations that were quite overwhelming and you thought that I can't do this? I can't do this. I can't go any further. What more? And where you begin to um, reach out and scream out to the God of your understanding, whom I choose to call Jesus. Um, God, why is it? Why am I going through this? Why am I going through this? What is it? What is this? What more do you want from me? We have those times in our lives where our brains simply break or our heart breaks. Mm, now that's a thought. Let's have this conversation. Let's have the conversation. When has your heart and your mind just broke? And how were you able to rewire it? How were you able to rewire it? How were you able to make the changes necessary to rewire your brain? and get out of that maze and that fog. Not easy, guys. Not easy. And we are not cowards, and there's nothing wrong with us when our brain breaks, because in life, our brain will break. It will. As long as we are in this flesh, our brains will break. But because we are created in the way that we are created, our brains will be fixed. It may take some time. It may take a lot of trial and error, but it is possible. It is absolutely possible. I'm a living witness. It's possible. Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to end this broadcast because we've been on here 28 minutes. Oh, we're not going to end it. It looks like Willie is here with us. Hey, Willie, we see you. I'm not sure if you can hear us. Go ahead and turn your camera on. And open your mic. Okay, you're muted. There you are. I see you. I saw you. Come on back. Turn that camera back on. We want to see your face. There you are. All right, go ahead and say something to us.
Good evening.
Do me a favor, center yourself. There you come on, center it a little bit more. There you go. There you go. All right.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Come on, say something to us.
Good evening.
Still can't hear you. No worries. We are here working on these kinks. Take your time.
It's saying I'm not muted.
Take your time. Okay, you just muted yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Can't hear you. Hold on one second. Let me look at my settings. Hold on one second. Let's see. One moment. I don't have you muted. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. I don't have you muted.
Can you hear me now?
I've got your mic open. Hold on. Let's keep trying. One moment.
Can you hear me now?
Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
All right, I've got you completely opened on this side. So keep working on your mic on your side.
Can you hear me?
Can't hear you yet.
What about now?
Nope, not yet. Let's see. Let me try muting you and then unmuting you. Hold on one second. Say something to us, Willie. Guys, thank you so much for your patience through these technical challenges. We are getting ready to have an awesome conversation
by Kelsey and Presley in Street.
Can you hear me now?
With Mr. Willie Brown.
What about now? Can you hear me?
We're working on it, guys. We are working on it. Thank you so much for your patience. Hey, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for being
here. Now?
Thank you for joining us for this conversation.
Now.
Let's see.
Can you hear me?
How's it going, Willie?
Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you.
What about now?
That's okay. We are going to continue.
Can you hear me?
Can't hear you yet. Just take your time. Take your time.
Can you hear me?
Take your time.
Okay, try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Not yet. Not yet.
Try it again.
Okay, guys, listen. Tell me where you are, where you're joining us from.
What about now?
As I stated, I am here in Southeast Louisiana. I'm a Jersey girl, and
I've never seen the mic do this before.
What about now?
No, not yet. Not yet. Just take your time.
Hello?
Testing.
Here, this Willie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick you out, and I want you to go back to the link, click back on the link, and come back in.
Wow.
Let's see if we can resolve it that way.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. Let's see. All right, guys, we're going to make this happen. We see that we've got some progress. We were able to get Willie in the room with us. But he's still having a little bit of technical difficulty. But we're going to keep moving this train. We're going to keep this train moving because this is a conversation that is so important. It is so important, if nothing else, to help us understand those around us who are servicemen. And we don't understand, why is Brother Billy that way? Why does he act so strange? Why does he seem distant? Why does Sister Sally snap at the drop of a hat? Why is Uncle Bill so weird? And why doesn't he want to come with us to 4th of July fireworks? What is the big deal? We're going to learn about that today. We're going to learn about that today. We're going to learn how these servicemen and women are able to overcome some of the challenges as it pertains to PTSD. It is real, guys. It is real. Do we recognize that there are times, there has been time in history when servicemen and women are told that what's going on in their minds is not real? Do we realize that? Did we know that that they've been told that there's nothing wrong with you? It's not right. It's not fair. It's not fair. I don't know. For me, it has helped. It has humbled me. It has helped me to learning about PTSD has helped me stop being so judgmental about what I don't understand, because I still don't fully understand. Um, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let's see if we can grab Willie one more time. Hold on 1 second, guys. One moment. Come on, let's get these likes up. All right, guys, I'm back. He's still having some issues, and it's okay. It's okay. Listen, we've got to give people grace and patience through their process. I don't want Willie to become discouraged. This is not easy, being in front of a camera and telling your story to people, especially people that you can't see. Not only do you not know them, you can't see them. Um, so we're going to give him some grace. And I'm going to continue to ramble until he gets in here and he's able to tell his story. So I will definitely continue to talk. Hey, how are you guys' day going so far? My day's been pretty good, pretty good. I actually woke up this morning and um, as many of you know, I have been going through a detox, a natural detox as well as a spiritual one. So, a physical detox. I have been adjusting my eating, increasing my exercise habits, and it is clearing my mind. When I tell you that the fog is not completely clear, but it is clearing it. Um, so, unfortunately, in my journey, I have kind of injured myself a little bit, and I've been struggling with that for a couple of days. I have begun a walking regiment, and in that walking regiment, I've been walking almost 10 miles a day. And for the past 2 days, I've not been able to walk because I pulled a muscle in my back. When I tell you that I am going through it mentally, because once we begin to repair the brain and repair the things in our lives, when something happens that disrupts that, our brain breaks. So for the past few days, I have to be honest, I've been I've been struggling. I've been struggling. Um, I do see Willie in our background. Hold on one second. Let's see if we can grab him. Hey Willie,
Hey, can you hear me now?
we can't hear you. Wow, this is I'm not sure what's going on. Say
Let me
something
try to get
again.
some headphones.
Yeah, it's pulling this on.
Take your time. I'm just gonna
Help
keep
with
talking
this.
to the people until we get this right. So I have been struggling this past few days with um, not being able to do
Now, can you hear me?
what I began. I have been so proud of myself. And I don't know if any of you have seen my post that, kind of playing around and playing dress up with my graduation cap and gown. I am a college student, as many of you know, and I am graduating in 2 weeks. Yeah, I am a college student, woman of a certain age, and I'm a college student. And I'm graduating with the first part of my degree
Can you hear me
in
now?
2 weeks. And it feels awesome. It absolutely feels awesome. Hey Willie,
Hello?
how's it going? Say something to us.
Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you.
Wow, man.
Take your time. I don't want you to get frustrated. I don't want you to get frustrated. Take your time.
What about now?
It feels good. It feels good. So I've had many, many challenges in life. Um, I am a recovering person, and that comes with its own challenges. It looks like, okay, I thought I was freezing up. Um, and to recalibrate my life to be a wife, a mother, and a grandmother, and a college student all at the same time. Do you understand the high that I am on right now? Like, I am totally, it amazes me. And I'm getting good grades. I'm not just passing, I'm not just kind of skating by. Um, I'm a strong B student. I'm in the classroom with 20 somethings and people who are just out of high school. And I'm holding my own. I'm holding my own. And it feels absolutely awesome. Hey Kamisha, welcome to the room. Thanks so much for joining us. We've trying to get some things going here. I don't know what's happening. Willie is having some technical difficulties, but we are going to help him get through it, help him get to the next level because we want to hear his story. We want to hear his story. Hey, Kamisha, where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? Many of you may know Kamisha Reviews. Willie, your mic is, you're muted, Willie. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Click unmute. Let's see. All right, Kamisha's here from Texas. Let's see. It's saying. Let's see. Let's see. I think you came in again. We're gonna kick you out on this side. Let's go in the other one.
Me now?
All right, say something, Willie.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
He still can't hear you.
Yeah, what the heck is going on with that?
Ooh, okay.
Let's see.
What Jada's computer?
She probably has it. Camera audio. Default. Hello.
So the audience can hear you, Willie, but I cannot hear you.
Oh, the audience can hear you.
Hey, Kamisha, can you jump in and help me? Willie, come on back. It says the audience can hear you, but I can't hear you. So you come on back so it's on my side.
Okay.
I still can't hear you, but the audience can hear you. 1 second. All right, say something to us, Willie.
Good afternoon.
One more time.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, so welcome to the show, Willie. I have to say, please count it to my head and not my heart. I never turned my headset on. Count it to my head and not my heart.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, Kamisha. Thank you. Kamisha has been my mentor with trying to learn how to play with this new toy called social media. So
Yes,
again,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
again, I apologize. It was me the whole time, guys. And thank you so much for listening to me banter for 46 minutes, but we've got you here. So we
Yeah,
want
me
to
about to throw
welcome
these
you.
computers away.
Don't do it, Willie. Don't do it. Okay. Hey, Willie, we want to welcome you to A Soft Place to Land. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us to tell your story. Tell me something. Tell us a little bit about who Willie is. Let's start there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to begin to peel back the layers of as if it was an onion. Who is Willie Brown?
Well, Willie Brown, right now at the moment, is trying to figure out who Willie really is.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair
It's
enough.
been it's been a journey, and through trying to hide my PTSD while I was in the military, I didn't want it to come forward because I was still in. And I put up a facade for so long till when I medically retired, it was hard to relate because in the military, I had something to go to. I could go to work and I could, not have any issues. But when I always say involuntarily medically retired.
Okay.
And so that kind of put a damper on my career and my life, so to speak. It's been a journey.
Okay. So let me roll back a little bit. And I should have said this in the beginning. First of all, thank you for your service. Thank you for lending your body and your mental stability to our freedom. We thank you for your service. We
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
You're welcome.
Um, let's talk about Willie as a young adult. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Georgia, a little small town called Lamar County. It's between Macon, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia. And I grew up on a farm. I'm the oldest of six, four boys and two girls. And I always said I grew up like the color purple. My dad
Okay.
was the dictator and everything, and so we really didn't have a say so. Um, I kind of, when I got old enough to join the military, I joined the military to get away from the farm. I was being told I'd never be anything but a dirt farmer, and I was dating this young lady. But I got out of the Marine Corps the first time, and we started dating, and she was in college, and my dad would say, boy, that girl ain't gonna do nothing but use you. She was going to school as a nurse, and, you know, just stuff like that. And when she get her degree, she gonna leave you. She gonna be looking at them young, nice doctors in them hospital and stuff. And so my career was fueled from fear of rejection.
Now, how long were you in the Marines?
14 years and
14
10
years.
years
Wow.
on me.
Wow. Wow.
And
So you said that your career was fueled by rejection. Can you
well,
elaborate on that?
being told I'd never be anything, that was a challenge for me. If you got 100 on the PT test, I was gonna get 102.
Okay.
And I always, once I got promoted, I was fueling myself for the next promotion. And
Okay.
so I made it to the top of the food chain. When I retired, I was a master sergeant, E8,
Wow.
and I was looking for that next rank. But like I say, when we was overseas, I had enlisted for my last 6 years, but when it got back, it was all, the post-deployment physical and everything, and there we go. I was used up and dropped like a dirty dish rag, I say.
Wow.
But, and that's when the nightmares, and I was unemployable from the start, wasn't able to work, and I had my wife I'm married, been married this year, be 23 years,
Wow, that's awesome.
24 years, she say. And then I
That
got
correct. That's right. She have to correct you.
I got one older daughter. She's 29, not by my first, like I was telling you, the girl that we dated. And then my wife and I have two daughters, 24 and 22, and we got a 14-year-old son. And so
Okay.
at the time my daughters were small, and so they would go to work. My wife would go to work, and they would go to school, and I would lay around. I had good intentions, but hearing those voices and stuff, I started having nightmares and stuff, and I started self-medicating with alcohol.
Okay. Okay.
And throughout the years, I've been to, I would say, 4 PTSD/alcohol inpatient programs. Um, the first one was in Charleston in 2015. I was there for about 6 months. I went through intense, prolonged exposure, which you, in the morning time, I was going to substance abuse classes. And in the evening, I was considered dual diagnosis.
Okay.
And so PTSD, if you look at my diagnosis, it's a severe PTSD slash substance abuse because I was self-medicating. And I had become the person that I always looked down on. My
So
dream was, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you this. So you spent 14 years in the Marines, 10 years in the Army. Were you told now during this time, were you seeing doctors in the military?
No, that's what I was saying. I had got up
So
in
the,
rank, and it was like a hidden taboo. Sometimes us as platoon sergeants, we would joke about it. I had a bad dream last night, man, this and this, but at the time it wasn't as no as it wasn't on the forefront at the time. No, they were still, you know, it was unknown. So if
so
I
and
would have
there's a
said I had
reason.
a nightmare or something, I probably would have been put out because
So and,
then
that, and
I was
and
unfit to be a leader.
that's where I want to go, because I've heard it said that the military, while you're active, that the military will see the issues in the enlisted person, but not say it to the enlisted person, but it will be in paper on paper.
Well,
Was that
now
your
they
issue?
do. Now they do. Back in 2000, the first time I think I noticed was we deployed in December 2004, and we didn't come back to June 2006. And
Wow, where
so
were you? Where were you
we was in
stationed?
Iraq,
Wow.
and so we was in the heart of the combat. And I was in me and my platoon was in, like, excuse me, called the Sunni Triangle, which is the triangle of death. And so it was like a mile square, little fob, and we would get hit all the time and everything. We have to go on patrols. And so at that time I had seen a lot of death and done a lot, even to the extent of like small kids strapped with a bomb on them and stuff. And
Wow.
the way they were over there is that Hussein and everybody would go to the family, and they would recruit the kids, try to buy these kids, and they would pay the parents to use these boys and stuff. And if they didn't give them up, they would kill the parent and take them. And so you going out in the town trying to do humanitarian service and stuff, and we would take books and open schools and stuff, and so it was like you would tear the town up, but you would want to help rebuild it.
Right.
And you see these kids and these IEDs, and the first time I saw a M1 tank, I never thought I could see a tank blew up so bad. It hit 2 bombs and it just disintegrated. And you're talking about picking up body parts and stuff. And so
how did you deal with that? How did you deal with that mentally? I mean, you're a boy, you're a country boy from a farm.
Well, at the time, you couldn't. I couldn't show no emotions or anything, and so I think that played a big part, because you didn't want to be looked at as a weak leader or a weak soldier, so you just kept it hidden, and so throughout every deployment, and I remember as a leader, you sending people out and they don't come back, but still you got to stand in front of your platoon and say, hey, we can't retaliate, we can't go back out and do this. We got the chaplain here for this and this, and you got to be strong. And behind the scenes, you want to go out there with them and just anything that moves. But I had to hold that in, look like I'm stern, and then at the same time, your soldiers looking at you like, oh, he don't care about such and such and such. But then if I go to my command or something and say, hey, I'm not feeling this, then I'll be relieved of duty or whatever. And so, but behind the scenes at night, I would cry.
Wow.
And back in 2014, when my dad died, I didn't feel anything. And my mom and my sisters were asking me, Fred Jr., you all right? It's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, it was like another death. And I had this mentor. He's dead now, but I called him. He was a Vietnam veteran, and asked him, hey, I'm not feeling nothing. I'm numb. And even my wife used to say, you don't smile, you don't do nothing. I had even taken over my son's room, and I would go in there and I would sleep. I would sneak alcohol in the house. I would pass out to keep from dreaming. And so it got to the point where I would drink all the time. And then when I got up, I would feel bad and I would drink again. And I was on some heavy medication, and even my psychiatrist said that I was playing Russian roulette with the medication and the drinking.
So you were finally diagnosed. You were finally medicated in addition to your self-medication. The challenges as they pertain to your family, how were things with you and your wife at this time? With her seeing you go through this, how did your marriage, how did you sustain? How did it survive?
we were just existing. And even that time, she had told me that she wished she had the man she had married, and my kids wanted their dad. But even that, like she said, she felt like she had 4 kids instead of a husband, and she had resigned from her job on post. She had a nice job, but she was taking me back and forth to the VA, Charleston, either. Remember one time I had my daughter in the car and we were going somewhere, and I just pretty much blanked out and told her to get out the car because I was going to run into. I always tried to find some way to end my life where it would be like an accident or something instead of suicide, so they can get the money. And this happened on more than one occasion. That's how bad I was hurting. I always said, even in groups, that the soldiers that sacrificed their life and then come back were the blessed ones. And I would have nightmares and stuff. And my wife, I tell her about it, and she was like, well, how would your soldiers tell you as their leader, the ones that died, how would they tell you and see you right now how to honor them? Honor them by carrying on and remember the good times and stuff, and just carry on and remember them. You are hurting yourself because they sacrificed, but what about us? And so in 2017, this was my 4th rehab. The VA has told me I needed a long-term program to get out of the atmosphere and this environment for a while. So I was in Bath, VA in New York, upstate New York, for a year. And so when my wife and I had decided that I would get my own place when I got back, instead, because every other time I would go off, I would get to feeling better, looking better, and I would come back into the house, and I started noticing things, and I want to take the daddy role, I want to take the husband role when things, and it always, after a few months or so, led back to me feeling rejected or whatever, because they had got so used to doing things one way and mama leading. And so I would feel rejected again. And there you go. I'm slipping again, sipping, sneaking.
Right.
And even when I started going to PTSD groups and AA meetings, it would be like I'm making fun, joking and laughing and hiding and everything going good. My family this, my family that. Till one day, one of my counselors in the room was like, we would have that VA in a big conference room because so many people, and it was about 20 or 30 people. And he stopped me one day and he said, Willie, I understand everything's going well, but why are you here if everything's going well? What is really bothering you that you can't handle and whatever? And the room got so quiet. And believe it, we had Korean War veterans in there, Vietnam veterans. And when I started sharing, I just broke down like a baby. You know how when your mama whooped you and tell you to be quiet?
Yeah.
I mean, and snot and stuff. And I felt embarrassed, but they came and embraced me. And they said, we've been waiting on you to do this. Now
To allow your brain to break. We talked about, prior to you coming on, we talked about related PTSD to the brain breaking. So what you're, in essence, what you're saying is your group was saying, we were waiting for you to allow your brain to break so that we could help you fix
Yes.
it.
And so with that, you know, after that, you know, it did get a little easier. I was able to be transparent and share, because during the daytime, I was good. I could conquer the world. I was used to, I invited challenges in the military and anything. And my wife could attest, even I used to work out a lot, and I hated to lose. To me, second place is the first loser. So I was
Okay.
always very competitive and stuff. But when I couldn't do anything, I felt useless. I felt hopeless. And so when the alcohol and PTSD took over, like I say, we were living on posts, because they had opened up the post to retirees and everything. We had a 5-bedroom house and my family. And so it got so bad with the nightmares and stuff till, like I say, I took my son's room, and we were living right behind the shopette. So I would, when my wife would take my kids to school, I would jump the fence and run to the shopette and get me a tall drink. And after a while, they took my wallet, they took everything. And I'm saying, I'm a grown man and this and this. And my wife's like, won't you act like it then? You're acting like a kid, you know? And I didn't want to hear all that stuff.
Right.
And she was like, at one time, she said, if I'd have knew this when we married, I never would have. And I'm like, how can you predict stuff? I didn't ask for this, because we used to be not exactly like the Huxtables, but the marriage was good. We would go out every weekend, was a family trip and stuff. And you know, I would buy her stuff just because and stuff, but that's been, whoo, it's been a while. And so we were
So,
separated for 4.5 years, and just this month, she saw that I was doing well and things were working out. So we just moved back in together. We
awesome.
working on our marriage.
Awesome.
We getting marriage count just the first of this month, as a matter of fact. But then again, here we go again. You know, I guess I had high expectations because, you know, I knew it wasn't going to be like it was, and everything was going to take time. But then I knew we had grown apart, but not to the extent. It was a lot deeper. And I went to talk to my psychiatrist, and I was telling them about it. And you know, it was almost like I say, I love being a husband, a father. And I always said I wasn't going to be the man that my dad were, treating my family and my wife the way. But sometimes I found myself being that man, and it would cause conflict. And so I would sneak. I used to hide little bottles, shot bottles, in my son's toy box and stuff. And so one time I called myself being smart. I was going to write a contract. And I told my
Okay.
wife, if you see me drinking or smell alcohol, you could put me out. And one day she caught me, and they're turning a little shot up, and she told me to get out. I was on the street for about a week, sleeping among the homeless and stuff. And, you know, after a while, nobody could find me or anything. And she had an APB out, the Hinesville police, and on post, and my family. I got 2 sisters live down here. Everybody looking for me. And I had got so pitiful till I had went to this gas station one morning about 7:30 to get me some alcohol. And she said that, sir, you're too early. And I mean, I was dirty. I had soiled myself. I mean, I was a bum.
You hit rock. You hit the bottom.
In abandoned houses and stuff, and getting rained on, and and so the lady asked me, she said, sir, what's your name? And I told her, and she said, you have a sister named such and such? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, she's looking for you. She told me to call her. You want me to call? I said, no. And she said, I would like to call her just for me. And when she did, I ran out the store. And I guess my sister had called my wife because she had just dropped my kids off. And my wife came up and she saw me. And to this day, I don't remember, but she said she didn't even recognize me.
And how long ago has that been?
About 4 years.
So are you sober today?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
How many years under your belt?
A little over a year, about 14 months. And
that's awesome.
With a day, probably with a day or two, but 14 months good and clean. But it had got to the point where I would go to the shopette, and after they took my wallet and stuff, and I would go get in line, I would get two, and they had the cameras. I don't know. And this is how crazy it had become. I didn't care about the consequences. I would get two, and I would stand in line, and I called myself not being in the camera way, and I would slip one in my pocket and put one back on the shelf so they could see it. And the line would be so long, so I would walk out. So one time I got caught stealing alcohol. And this was before I went to New York. And like I said, I had become the person that I looked down on. And today, it's still challenging, but we're getting through it. Excuse me. And even with my daughters, they're 24 and 22. I can't even relate or talk to them because I don't know how.
It comes with time, Willie, that as a recovering person, you know that I'm a recovering person. On May 6th, it'll be 29 years.
Wow.
So those reconnected relationships, it comes with time. And what I would suggest to you is you give time. Let it happen. It didn't break overnight, and it's not going to mend overnight. But here's the question to you. What was the deciding factor that caused you to turn the corner, to address, number one, the PTSD and the mental health challenges, and number two, the substance abuse? What happened in your life to make you say, all right, Willie, you got to do something different? What was that deciding factor?
Well, I wanted to live. And I knew, like I say, I tried to commit suicide and couldn't even do that right.
Listen, been there, done that, bought a tall Pepsi and a bag of chips. So I understand. I understand.
While we were separated, my wife, we talked about this the other day. My idea of separation was my family didn't want nothing to do with me.
Okay.
But her idea was we were just living in two different households and we were still married. And it was just because of my PTSD and alcohol, and they was giving me time to recoup and giving them time to figure out, us together and get back together.
Right.
So
Right.
in between, while we were separated, I was trying to fill a void. I had tried, spur of the moment relationships, trying, but people, some of them that knew me, they were like Abraham in the Bible. No, you're a good man, and this ain't where you need to be. And
Right.
even when I had got locked up, sometimes they would tell me, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. And so I felt abandoned. But my wife, we were seeing each other every day, but it was just for like a minute. I would drop by. But the real deciding factor was, I think when my granddaughter was born, she's 4 now. And so while my daughter was pregnant with her, she had told her mom she didn't even want me around her. I wasn't going to have nothing to do with her. And so when she was born, I didn't go to the hospital or nothing, but my wife called me. As a matter of fact, that was my baby's daughter prom night. And so they had went to the hospital, her and her date, and I didn't go, but my wife called me, and I'm like, I thought she didn't want me up there. My wife said, if you don't get up here, boy.
I know that's right.
And so
let me ask you this, Willie. Let me ask you this. What does it feel like in your physical body to realize through all the challenges that you have had a good woman, standing behind you, even when it didn't feel like that, when you realize that she's had her hand in the small of your back saying, Willie, you can do this. You can't do it here, but eventually you're going to figure it out. Then you can come back here. What does that feel like?
I'm blessed and I'm grateful. And as a matter of fact, she called her dad from Valdosta, who is a Vietnam vet, and they drove me to New York because I had to get there on my own. So he came and they drove me. It took like 14, 15 hours, but they drove me to New York. And so even though I felt abandoned, I wasn't. But in my mindset, because I wasn't living with my family, like once again, I'm a failure. But today, I'm grateful. And if I could give her the world, I would. And like I say, things right now are in a reconciliation and rebuilding stage. As a matter of fact, today I dropped off an application for marriage counseling at the church I attend. And so we had one about 6 months ago before we moved in. And once again, things were said and stuff. And I've learned when we go to those things, let the woman go first.
Yes, indeed.
Because I'm thinking, we're working on it. Things are looking good. But when she spoke, I was like Jeffrey Dahmer or Hannibal Lecter. I mean, like, I might as well, and it really upset me. And I was to the point of almost like an out-of-body experience. I was so upset. And she was like, I can't understand why you're so upset. But the counsel was like, I can. And so it took me to doing some soul searching. And even like in the rooms, they say with the serenity prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Right.
I didn't know the difference. I thought I did. But then now, even when we're starting to have decent conversations now, because we couldn't, but I had to accept it. And even before we moved in, she was asking me, are we moving in to reconcile our marriage, or is it in for convenience?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not moving in nowhere for no convenience. If that's the case, I'd rather stay. And I'm not coming into no household where there's going to be tension, because I didn't get better to be miserable.
Well,
So
here's the thing, Willie. What you may have to do is allow your wife to vent. She has walked these long roads with you. And some days, even though she may have fussed sometimes, but there are some days then you didn't know that she went in the bathroom and cried.
and yes, we're talking about that now.
And that
Now,
give
she
time
say I
time.
have no idea what she went through while I
Absolutely.
was in, and like I say, working, kids in school, they playing sports, and then here I am falling off the wagon or by the wayside. I mean, a couple times I have driven to the store and couldn't find my way back home. I I mean it, and wow. And to hear my mom, I remember one Mother's Day, my sisters and all and brothers were giving my mom gifts and stuff. And I was like, Mom, I'm sorry I can't get you anything. And she told me, Fred Jr., the best Mother's Day you could give me is get yourself together and become the man God wants you to be. And
that is absolutely the key. Again, I would say to you, give time. Give time. I remember being where you are in my sobriety. Um, I was 2 years sober, and my sponsor at the time took me to a retreat, an AA retreat, and I met a woman who was a physician, and she had 22 years sober, and I could not fathom, in my brain couldn't process 22 years. You mean to tell me you haven't had a drink or a drug in 22 years? I don't believe it. Because I couldn't do 22 minutes, and I was struggling at 2 years. But when I look back and I think about that, on May 6th, I will be celebrating 29 years.
wow.
It's been a process. There are still those in my life who say, "Yeah, right. So you don't have a mimosa. You don't hit nobody's blunt. You not going in the corner after church and hitting anybody's pipe." Yeah, right. We believe it because we remember who you were. But as you give time, people will see that you're not that person that you were. But you've got to give those around you time to be angry with you, your wife, your children, and those who live outside the four walls of your home. Give them time to be angry with you. Because there were years that they were angry with you, and you were so far gone because of your mental illness and your addiction that you couldn't hear them being frustrated. You couldn't hear it. So if your wife needs to fuss at you, saying, "Willie, I done told you for the last time, pick them socks up. Yeah, you got them close to the hamper, but I need you to figure out how to get them in the hamper." Take it. Take it.
That's what I'm learning. I
it
ceased all expectations of any and everything, and like I say, I
but
started
don't be
going
listen,
through.
don't be a whipping boy. Don't do
Right.
that.
Yes.
But allow acknowledge the frustration, even with your children. My children today, I have a good relationship with them, but in the beginning, not so much. I mean, I had to, when I had a job, I would, my kids were home, I had a job, I would take them with me to the bank to cash my paycheck so that they could see I'm going to pay bills with this. The reason I don't have money is because I'm paying bills. I needed them to see that when I left, I was coming. If I said I was going to the market and coming right back, and I'd be back in 30 minutes, I had to be back in 29 so that they knew I was coming back.
And see, that was a thing I had to get used to because, like I say, I could ask for gas money, but they would say, okay, follow me to the gas station.
Right.
Either, my son, when I go get gas or something and I come out the store with a bottle in a bag or something, what you got there, Dad?
Right. Giving you side eye.
Don't worry about it, boy. You stay in your lane. Sit back there and be quiet. And I remember times when I would do that and he was smaller and I would get those 2 for $2 and I would put them in my pocket while I'm pumping gas so he wouldn't see it and they would find it. And so I'm realizing a lot of things and stuff. And like I told my wife just recently, about a month ago, it feels like they're waiting to not if the shoe gonna fall, but when. And she was
Right.
like, I wish you'd get over yourself. Get over yourself. You're not all that. Everybody's in your corner. But then, I guess I'm so used to it. And I'm how to put it. I guess I'm afraid of success or coming back because my granddaughter, when she get home from school, she's 4, she go to Head Start. But in the evening, Paw Patrol or Peppa Pig. And I'm her little knight in shining armor.
Mm-hmm.
Either Papa take me to my favorite part. And so, like I say, life is, I have no reason to be negative now. And things are getting better. I can't say I don't. Well, the past has made me the man I am now.
Right.
Because even my wife, she has a vision of doing a nonprofit to help other families that's going through what we went through. Because a lot of the resources we have, she had to find, or we found, because it's not some of the resources nobody tell you about it. And so she grabs a folder and she want to do this nonprofit. And at the time we was separated, she was like, we can't help people and we're living apart. How I'm gonna tell somebody how to love their husband but we're in 2 separate houses. And so that was put on hold. And it still is until we get a solid foundation again. And when she filled out the application last night for the marriage council, I went by the church and got it. And I was reading what she said. To have my husband back, to be a family again so we could do trips, intimacy, communication, and all this. But I'm like, okay, that's not now. But then again, it changed my perspective to want to be better because now I see, instead of, like you say, her looking at me as just I don't know what I thought she was looking at me as, but I knew it would take time. but I didn't see it there as the way she put it. I didn't know she felt like that,
Right.
you know. And even Sunday at church, I went up for prayer and I told the elder about what was going on and prayed for my family, and we're reconciling and stuff. And he gave me a scripture for me and her to read, Philippians 2:1-4. Think on these things, love and all this. And
Right.
we've been reading it. And so I'm hopeful. And like I say, I got a daughter that's getting ready to graduate college, my baby daughter. And when she graduated high school 4 years ago, and at the church we was attending then, they had a little, it was 2 girls in there that graduated high school, and they had a little dinner for them, and they allowed them to speak. And she said that she didn't even expect me to be living to see her graduation.
Wow.
And, you know, when she said that, I mean, she was crying and stuff, and even mentioning that now, and I'm at a loss for words now. I'm but I could say today I'm hopeful and things are getting better.
Good.
And my mind, you know, I started classes at the VA seeking safety. I do more injury on Friday on Zoom from 9 to 10:30.
Okay.
And it's helping and stuff. And so, like I say, my wife kept saying, you know, we need to go back to counseling and stuff. And we're things are getting better.
That's good. What I would suggest, here's
That
what I would suggest, Willie, with your wife wanting to start the nonprofit. I would suggest don't wait. Do it now. Allow your community, those around you, those whom you're going to help, allow them to see your process during your process. This channel, A Soft Place to Land, was born out of a support group that I started in 2017. And it was born as a result of having a son who deals with PTSD and him going through the challenges that PTSD brings, and me not knowing what to do, how to help him. He's in Georgia. I'm in Louisiana. So I didn't know what to do. I ran to, I went to family members and they really didn't have suggestions. And I went to the church house and all they could do was tell me to pray. And not that prayer won't help, but I needed more than that. I needed a soft place to land. I needed a place where I could talk about the frustration that I was experiencing as a mom. I needed a place to talk about the anger that I was experiencing as a mom. So I needed a place to talk about the hurt that I was experiencing as a mom. And I didn't have that soft place, someone who who understood. So I began to talk to God on my own. And God said, what you make happen for others, I'm going to make to happen for you. So in January of 2017, I started a support group. I didn't want to do it because I'm originally from Jersey and I'm here in Louisiana. I know folks from the church, and I knew I didn't want it to be in the church. Not that I have anything against the church, I'm a minister. But I wanted it to be a place where people could be, and it started out as women only. Women could be their authentic self. So if a cuss word fell out, there wasn't going to be this clutching the proverbial pearls. Oh my goodness. Girl, you said that. No, if this is what you were feeling, this is what you were feeling. And then this year, we have started the YouTube channel. So I say to, and which means that it's not big yet, but the net has been cast out wide. What I say to you and your wife, start it together. Start it together. Allow the people around you to see you grow.
And so, but yes, I know your son, and he's a great man and everything. And as a matter of fact, he sent me the invitation to the first one, and I watched it and everything. And so that's and my battery running low, so I got to plug up the computer.
Okay.
And I forgot what I was gonna say.
He sent you the invitation. That's how you found us, through my son.
Yes, ma'am. And he was on the first one, and I really enjoyed it. And so and speaking of, like you said, with the church and everything, I was in a ministry and I was a minister in training. But when I started having issues, they set me down from all my duties. I couldn't even be an usher or anything. And so, but this is one of the issues I have, because if you want to serve the people, they, like you say, prayer and fasting, you're a Christian man, you know what to do. You being a hypocrite, you being this. And so I really, like I said earlier, when you asked me who is Willie, I was living off of what other people thought the way I should be.
Right. Right.
And I wasn't, because even at times I stayed in the pastor's office, because my family, they would go and go and go. And he asked me one time, why can't you get it? What's wrong with you? You get good for 3 months and then you fall back. You just don't want to. And I was like, I don't know why. Sometimes I would have a nightmare and it will feel like when I wake up that I had been back.
Right.
And
so this is, I mean, I love the church. Like I said, and I don't want this, although I am a follower of Christ, that's not what this channel is about. So right. I'm able to tell the unadulterated truth. Sometimes within the church, within the walls of faith, sometimes we miss it. Because we are in this flesh, we miss it. We want to live in euphoria. We assume that those around us live in euphoria, the perfect or utopia, the perfect society. Right, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have a stain on your tie. Sometimes that's the real. You went out to dinner with your wife and you spilled some gravy on your tie. Sometimes there's a stain on your tie, and that stain needs to be addressed.
Yes, because everybody, if you look at it from their standpoint, I prayed to God, I pray and fast, everything's good. I don't have no issues. I have faith. So I trust God and he's making a way and this, and nobody's addressing anything. So when somebody come in there with an issue, okay, pray, fast. And I had even invited him to come to some of my groups and stuff. You have the issue, not me. And so that kind of put resentment and so it even put a strain on my family, because now I'm the outcast and I'm dealing with these issues, but everybody's looking at me like, okay, you need to get it right. When I'm suffering from issues and you could see other people having issues, but they come to church and everything's fine. You know, I would go to church. I would have alcohol on my breath and stuff, but I always stayed there. I mean, I was always a faithful man and everything. And then I had started addressing issues with mom. She said, if you feel uncomfortable, why do you go? Because that's my obligation. But I'm looking at it and trying to hide these feelings and stuff. And even a couple times when they will have like the minister in trainings come forward to have sermonettes, some of the other, they would tailor their sermon around me. They wouldn't say it, but then when they're doing their sermon, the little eyes are cut over and stuff and all this. And when I tell my wife about, oh no, you just saying stuff, but it shows a coincidence. And so now it doesn't matter. I'm in a different ministry now, and they actually have classes and they go out in the community. Like this month is the Military Child Month, Autism Awareness Month. And they have groups come in like doing Bible study and speak on these things. And so, like I say, I even talked to the elder about some situations and nobody looked down on nobody. And so, like, I'm like you. I'm like David. I can't touch God's anointing. I'm not against it or anything because I did learn a lot from them. And I appreciate that. But I think if we want to be Christians and stuff, we have to learn about these things and get out of the old tradition, prayer and fasting and Jesus, 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 and everything's okay, which is not. And so that's one of my goals, like this what we're doing now. Me being transparent and telling my struggles and not looking down, but say, come on, we can do it. You can do it because this is where I was and this is where I'm at now. I haven't arrived, and by no means do I think I have because I've learned to never say never.
There you go.
You get that Willie, that's effect and everything's good, but at any moment, anything could happen.
And Willie, so, this is why I'm saying to you, you and your wife, as a unit, start that nonprofit. Like you said, you're not there. I'm not there. I am not there. I am no different than Willie Brown. I'm no different. Those 29 years don't mean a thing. I'm no different. Listen, start it. If you start it, if you two pray together, and this is what you have decided as a unit, this will also allow your marriage relationship to grow and to heal and to blossom, because this is a baby that you all are going to be nurturing together. So Willie, what's because we've been here a minute. Where can you find, what can we get behind you other than, because I'm waiting for the invitation to this nonprofit. What can we get behind you and support you in? How can we support you?
Well, for one, strengthening me as a man spiritually and helping with my marriage, because it's tough. I would be lying if I sit here and say, oh, I'm comfortable and everything's good and everything. I've learned to not do that no more. Not to put up a facade and say, and when I'm hurting, but that's how I'm healing, because now I can recognize these things. And
Right.
I had asked my wife would she like to come in and give her perception and stuff, but she was like, no, you know, because
Like,
she
yeah,
gets
I'm not there.
nervous.
I'm not there yet. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it used to be at a time I would try to get her to go to Al-Anon and come to groups with me, but she was like, no, you have the issue. You have to get yourself together. But now it's totally different. Because she was telling me just a week ago, if we wanted to leave, we would have left because she's from Alabama. You wouldn't have never knew where we were. The
Right.
money, all this, and because I would say you just here for the money, you just this, because I was there financially and physically, but not emotionally or anything. But the good part about the nonprofit, even my daughters say they would want to reach out to their age group,
Absolutely.
where they come
It's a
from.
family. It is a family. Is a family issue. And I think the takeaway with this for me is the confirmation that PTSD, and we factor in addiction, whatever that addiction is, it affects not just the individual, but it affects the entire family. So as just as the family was affected in the negative, it's going to take time for the family to heal in the positive. Give time. Um, it's going to happen because I believe the scriptures when it says that what God does for one, He's going to do for so what He makes happen for one person, He's no respecter of person. He's going to do it for someone else. I am not so super special. In my mind, I'm special, and I believe that I'm God's favorite. But and the reality is that I'm not a monolith. You know, um, my children had to heal. My relationship had to heal. And, one day at a time, it will happen. That is
I
the
believe it.
takeaway.
I believe
That is
it.
the takeaway. That is
I
the
have the faith.
takeaway for me. That's the takeaway for me. Listen, Willie, I want to thank you so much for joining us here at A Soft Place to Land.
Thank you for having
We
me.
will we will be again. Thank you for your service. Thank you for lending your physical body, your mental and emotional, your spirit, you know, so that I can walk free.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, I want to thank you for your service. We
You're
will
welcome.
be continuing to stay in contact with you. And the next time, and we want to have you back. And when you come back, I want your wife sitting next to you so that I can hear from her mouth how she has had to say, Willie, picked up one sock and put it in the hamper. Get that other sock in that hamper. You're getting better, boy. You're getting better. But thank you so much. And you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you
Bye
for
bye for
having
now.
me. And you also.
You,
Thank you. Be
thank
blessed.
you. You
Yes, ma'am.
too. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye.
Hey, everybody. It took us a minute to get there, but we finally got there to have the conversation about PTSD. Listen, it even though Willie's story was the struggles as it pertains to him serving in the military and lending his mind and his body to it, all of us have had struggles in our lives that we've had to overcome. Let's help each other to get to that place called a soft place to land. Hey, remember, I want you to share this video. Tell your friends about us. Tell them, yeah, this is a good place for you to be. I think that there's information that you could use. Subscribe, like the video. Let's go ahead and make this channel grow. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you thought about today's conversation. Bye bye for now and have a great rest of your day.